It's been a long season for Austin FC, and it's coming to a close. Who do we want to see step up before the season ends? That and a lot more on another episode of Final Whistle ATX. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Final Whistle ATX. My name's Wyatt, this is Harley, and Nick is not with us today.
No. Two-man show.
We miss him, but I feel like my intro is probably better. I don't want to compare, but I feel like mine maybe was better. I don't know.
I don't want to go that far. I think he does a great job, and I think you do a great job as well.
No, that's not what I gave you $20 before the show. What are we doing here?
Yeah, well, I'm a man of my honor, so. But anyway,
Well,
cheers.
Oh, yeah, cheers. I was going to say, yeah, cheers. Nick is not here. We're recording on a Wednesday, and I'm only bringing that up because there's some weather situations going on today, and Nick was not able to join us for that reason, but he's thinking about us, and he wants to be here because we haven't been here in a while ourselves.
Yeah, it's been a moment, so we thought it was time to maybe,
Check
what do we
back in.
think? To check back in with Austin FC, do a temperature check, and
Let's
see
do a
how we're
temperature
feeling.
check. Exactly. So, how are we feeling so far? We got 6 games left. We're on a bit of a hot streak, I guess you could say, but where are you feeling? How are you feeling so far with where we're at in the year?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird right now because we haven't seen this team play for a week and a half, and it feels like longer, doesn't it? I don't know why, but it just feels like a really long time since I've seen Austin FC play. I want to get to know this team a little bit again before the end of the season. I feel like these last 6 matches are almost like a mini league. I think you can almost draw separate conclusions from these games compared to the rest of the season. And if they can finish with maybe a winning record over these last 6 matches, or just get some good results to take into the off-season, I think that's a success. What about you?
I've been happy to see what we look like with a number 9, a real number 9, not a false number 9. And, looking at our first goal, was it last week or was it 3 years ago? I don't know. But the last time we played our last goal, it feels like having that false 9 and having everybody around really put us in position to score every time. Like that first goal, Diego Fagundes found Musa making a run, and he wasn't able to control it. But then we had other guys attacking, like Cecilia, who ended up getting the goal, and Driussi, who barely missed himself. So having that false 9 is really kind of changed the way we attack. And before him, Gaines, the first Austinite to score a goal, and we covered that already in previous episodes. But I love seeing what we actually look like with the real number 9, and it's kind of changed the game for us, especially Driussi being able to play in his natural position and Cecilio playing in his natural position.
Yeah, Musa Gite has massively surpassed my expectations. I was hoping for the best with him, but you never really know with a guy who's coming in and just completely picking up a new league, a new country, and he's been great. He's been so good, such a handful for defenders. They have no idea how to defend him. It's great.
They really don't.
And even better than that is that Sebastian Driussi, I don't want to call my shot too early, but this guy could be one of the best players in the MLS next season. Give him an off-season to get fully match fit, get accustomed to the country and to the league, just like Gite. And already we're seeing glimpses, like the setup for one of the goals against Real Salt Lake when Driussi does this amazing flick from the sideline. Oh my goodness, it's outrageous. Let's get him and Gite more involved, and it's an exciting time, I think. And I really want, like I said, to see us finish this season strong. With those two guys, I think we can.
Yeah, my final thought on Gite is this. We've talked about him, it seems like, every episode since we've signed him. Some of them good, some of them bad. But he has gradually improved as the season's gone on. In the beginning, he was with us for how many weeks before we even saw him play? And then he played for 30 minutes, and then he played for a half, and then he played for a half again, and then he played for a half again. And the more he's played, the more he's gotten into shape, the more he's gotten to know his teammates. He's continuing to get better, and I have no reason to think that won't continue on to next year.
Yeah, thank God for Musa, because he's given us so much material on this show, even before he played a minute for Austin FC. And then he turns out to be really good. So it's been best case scenario for us and for all fans of Austin FC, because he's been really, really great, and he's still such a young guy. There is a lot of room for growth there. And you can see it in the way that he plays. If he's able to refine a little bit of his technique and get even better, then he's not going to be with Austin FC long, because he's going to move on to bigger and better things,
he's really physical, and he's really athletic. He doesn't know how to use it all yet. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a young puppy.
Like a baby deer.
Who's still figuring out how to walk, how to run. But I did want to say, too, with Driussi, we talked about him, too. I don't think you're wrong to say he's potentially one of the best players. He could be one of the best players in MLS next year. I think what maybe will hold him back, outside of Austin, because I think in Austin we're all going to think that, he's not necessarily a guy who's going to light up the goals. He controls the game in so many ways that unless you're a soccer fan, it's hard to see everything he does because he just controls possession. He gets back on defense. Beautiful passes that lead to assists like he did with Fagundes. So I think in Austin we'll all recognize he's one of the best players in the MLS, but I'm curious what the outside MLS world will think of him because he's not going to be a guy with 25 goals. That's not the way he plays. You know
what? I don't care. Like, let them sleep on Sebastian Driussi and let him be all to us. And then when Austin's in the playoffs for the first time next season, let him be a surprise that catches everyone off guard. I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, it's been kind of a down year, and I'm glad that both of the guys we signed towards the end are giving us hope. Because if we didn't have Driussi, we didn't have Musa, it would just be a down year with no spark at the end of the tunnel.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Don't you think, though? I mean,
it's a little sad, though.
You think about, like, what are we excited about for next year? We're excited about that. We're excited about Kolmanich, and there's a few other guys, too. But, Matt Biesler is going to come back. Hopefully he stays an extra year. You think his leadership really is valuable for us?
And I'll take some like 3 points here. We had Derek from Los Verdes on last week. He was a great guy to have on. We had a really good time with him. I think what we've got to look forward to is the culture and the atmosphere that the supporter groups and the band have created at Q2 Stadium. Even more people are going to go. It's going to become an even hotter ticket in town, especially if the team is doing well as we predict maybe next season. So yeah, so much to look forward to. And like I've said, I think it starts with the end of this season.
Mm-hmm. So are you ready to proclaim playoffs for next year? Are we going to bulletin board that right now? Or?
It might be a little early. I like to be early. I like to be bold, but that might be a little too soon. We'll see how the offseason goes.
So speaking of excitement and culture in Austin, the U.S. men's national team just came through.
Ooh, nice segue.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Nick, watch out, man. I'm telling you. I'm just saying. No, but a lot of people on Twitter, mostly people from Austin, I'll admit, were saying that Q2 should be the home of the U.S. when they come to the U.S. And I don't think they're wrong. We're 2-0 at Q2. The stadium was rocking. I didn't see it, or I wasn't there, but I saw it. It was rocking. It felt like an Austin FC game.
It was exactly the word that I was going to use, was rocking. It was incredible to watch that atmosphere. I know that the guys from American Outlaws took it really, really seriously. Yeah. They went all out. They raised that beautiful tifo before the game. They gave Los Verdes a real run for their money. It was just awesome to see. And then the US team, they came through. It was a little bit of a slow first half, a bit of a frustrating first half. And then Ricardo Pepi comes up with 2 goals. He loves scoring in Austin, as we know.
Yep, we do know that.
Our good friend Adrian Healy points out on Twitter that he is the joint top scorer at Q2 Stadium, which is a little sad considering he plays for FC Dallas. But what a player he is. Really cool to see a young superstar potentially Texan striker score goals in the first ever World Cup qualifier in Texas. There's some poignancies to that, I think. Those are the kind of things that I look for in soccer when I'm just
had to be Austin, didn't it?
It had to be
Q2.
Yeah.
The first one in Texas. Dallas has been here a minute. Houston's been here a minute. We're going to Austin.
And before the game, there was a press conference that the head coach Greg Berhalter had, and he was asked why Austin is so great as a soccer city and what it does for the national team and why they like playing here so much. And he pointed out the facilities being incredible, and he did single out the atmosphere at the stadium and the fans. It's something that has not escaped the notice of the most important people in soccer in the country.
I think as long as his son plays here, I don't see why he wouldn't want to keep coming. And Claudio Reyna, our technical director, and Josh Wolf, one of his best friends. This is kind of going to sound like a wacky transition, but speaking of Greg Berhalter, I guess that makes me want to transition to Josh Wolf because it feels like people are saying some similar things about Greg Berhalter as they were about Josh Wolf. So speaking of a temperature check, where are we at with Josh Wolf? I know when Adrian was here, I was behind the camera. He was saying that this is the time to figure out. He needs to try and win these games because we need to figure out, is this system going to work for us in the future? Are these players going to work with this system for the future, or do we need to move on and find a new system?
Form has been really good recently. You pointed out to me before the show that Austin have won 2 of their last 3 games. And I think Josh Wolf's seat has cooled down a little bit. It was a little warm for a moment. I think it's cooled off a little bit with some of the good form. And I will say that in my mind, there is no sense making a change, certainly not now. And I think even if the season ends poorly, there's no sense making a change over the summer. Give him the summer, give him the off-season to make some additions, clear out a few players, work with the team, and let's go into next season with Josh Wolf and let's see how things go. There has been some criticism, and I think that's fair at times. We talked on this show about how the start to the second halves have been slow, and sometimes the changes have not quite been right, and there's been some frustration there. But it's the team's first ever season, and I think that if we all take a deep breath and take a step back and have a look at things, yes, we dreamed of the playoffs, and some of us may have boldly predicted that would happen this season, but really, I don't think that was ever an expectation.
I think the narrative has changed since last time we talked about it, because Driussi has continued to look so good and Musa has continued to look so good, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Cecilio is finally scoring. So, yeah, I think the narrative was, and even a few weeks ago in Colorado, what the heck kind of lineup was that up there? We lost 3-0. We didn't even bring some of our guys to Colorado. What was that about?
Yeah.
And then just one more game, one game after that, the narrative changes again. And I think that's a testament to just how passionate our fans are, and they just want to see us win right now. Even though we're not going to make the playoffs, they still want to see us win every game. And I love that about our fan base. I think that's the kind of fan base any manager wants to go to. You know what I mean? Like, you want to kind of be in that environment. A lot of people say that about, like, the New York Knicks, too. It's like, they hate us when we lose, and we lose all the time. But when we win here,
oh no,
I'm going to be a god.
Do you know what you've just done?
Oh, compared Austin to New York?
I think Austin FC is the Knicks of the MLS. Is that right?
The Knicks have a little more history, I'll say that. But in terms of expectation, you know what the better expectation comparison is UT. I think that's the perfect comparison for Austin FC in terms of, like, fan expectation to realistic expectation. I know we have some Texas fans who watch this show. No disrespect to Texas, but it's a very passionate fan group. Am I wrong?
I think we've just, like, nailed a, like, 30...
We just lost half our viewers.
We've just nailed an idea for, like, a 30-minute off-season episode. Like, we are sorted. That's one idea crossed off the list. We can talk about this for hours.
I agree completely about Josh Wolf, though. I think give him another off-season. It's his first year. He made some tactical mistakes. He made some mistakes with the lineup. But there's people who have a lot more experience than him who've done the same thing. And, let's give him some time. Let's let him learn. Claudio Reyna, I really believe in. I don't think we could have a better technical director.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we haven't talked about Reyna that much on this show. But again, going back to those two signings, Gite and Driussi, middle of the season, the team needs a spark. And it's really good scouting by the front office and really good recruitment to bring in those two guys that have helped turn the season around. So, a lot of faith in Reyna and his team for what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of the guys they've found. Like Diego Fagundes has become the heart and soul of Austin FC, and he's kind of was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Our keeper, Brad Stuver, he hadn't started in New York, and I know that, he was his manager or his GM in New York as well, so we'd seen him, but we didn't know that he was going to really be good yet.
Yep.
Look at Kolmanich.
Yeah.
This is a guy who came on, he was a backup.
Complete gamble from Europe.
Are there guys who we've missed on? There are, but there's a lot of guys we've hit on too, and that's another reason for optimism.
Yeah.
But moving forward, we got Minnesota this Saturday at 8 o'clock on the CW Austin. What are we looking to see from that game? Who do we need to see step up? With, like we said, 6 games left. Who do we need to see step up to prove they belong on this team?
Yeah, I think something I talked about...
I have a feeling I know who you're going to say.
Something I talked about a couple of episodes ago is playing for the future. And there are some guys that won't be here next season, some guys that have still got a case to make, and other guys who are going to be a part of this team's future. And one of those guys is Danny Pereira. I think he's had a great rookie season. I've talked about him so much on this show. He's my guy. I wonder if he's hit a little bit of a rookie wall. I don't know if that's a thing in the MLS, but it's a long, grueling season. He's not experienced something like that before in the professional game. He's been playing slightly out of position. He's worked extremely hard. He's had a couple of injuries. Is he in shape to come out and finish the season really strong? Because if so, he'll be a huge part of this team. I love the energy he brings. I think what he does in terms of breaking the lines and connecting defense and attack is something that I don't know anyone else can do on this entire roster.
Yeah, and you've been on him since day one, and you haven't been wrong about it. He really is a difference maker. When he's out there, you can tell he's got that physical presence than when he's not out there.
But he's got a silly yellow card in him, hasn't he? So he's
shown us that he does. He's shown us that he does.
I kind of like that sometimes. You'd rather have those guys on your team than on the opposition, but clean up a few of those yellows.
So does Ring. Oh, yeah. And that's just, sometimes he's young. He's figuring it out. I think he's going to learn. The composure will come. The composure will come with the experience. One of the guys who I'm looking forward to is Romagna. He started off as a go-to starter. Cascante kind of took his spot at some point during the season. Since Beasler's been out, they've both been in the starting lineup together for mixed results. But Romagna, we forget, he's like 22 years old. Like, this is a young guy.
It's because he's an absolute mountain. That's why we forget his
he
young
looks
age.
35 years old.
Yeah.
But I think that he's got a lot of athleticism. I think if he can figure out some of the technical aspects of being a defender, and if he can become a better passer, because that's so important in this system, being able to pass the ball out of the back, which is something that you've mentioned that we've struggled with. And part of that is him, and it's not all him. I'm not to throw him under the bus, but he has been a part of it.
Yeah.
So I want to continue to see him get reps. I want to continue to see him make mistakes and learn from them and get better from them. And I want to see Josh Wolf keep trusting him. He doesn't have an option right now because Beasler's still out so far. But I think Romagna could be the starting center back of our future because Cascante and Beasler, they're not the same age as Romagna. So I think he could be a guy who's our go-to center back next year. Our number one center back.
I love that call. I agree with everything you've said. I think you put it perfectly. I would just add one thing, which is I think he's one of the hardest working players on the team. And I will always remember being at that San Jose game, the one that Austin lost 4-3, which was an absolute barn burner. And Romagna just running up and down the pitch throughout the whole game, to the extent that when he was almost subbed off towards the end of the game, the crowd was upset. And this is a centre-back being subbed off at the end of a 4-3 game. The crowd got upset, and in the end they switched it, and it was Cascante that went off. Romagna is, I think, a little bit of a fan favourite for that reason. He works so hard. And, yeah, I agree. Another guy that could be a part of this team's future.
Definitely. So with Minnesota coming up on Saturday, are we feeling like we want to give a prediction? What do we think?
I think we've got to, haven't we?
Don't we?
Yeah, we've got to do
That's
it.
what the people are here to see. So what do you think we win 3-0 or 4-0? What's your prediction this Saturday?
Many goals, either way. Minnesota's a good team. They started really, really slowly. Austin beat Minnesota towards the start of the season and then lost the rematch. This is the third time we're playing them this season. I think I'm right on that. They've got a lot better.
I'm sure we'll hear from someone on Twitter if you're wrong about it.
Minnesota's got a lot better, and Austin's got a lot better as well. Austin have won 2 out of their last 3 games. Close to full fitness now. I don't know about Beasler, but the injuries are hopefully a thing of the past now. I think Austin can win this game. I think they can keep up the good vibes and the good form. Nothing to lose at this point in the season, and they're kind of playing with that fearless spirit. So I'll give Minnesota some respect. They probably deserve a bit more. I think they'll lose the game, but they deserve my respect. I'll say 2-1 Austin. What do you think?
I hate that I'm agreeing with you. I was going to say 2-1 as well. But my reasoning was different. I think throughout the year we've seen Austin struggle either with leads or when we're down early. And I kind of want to see us give up a lead early just to see how we respond, because it's that point in the year where the wins and losses don't matter as much as who are we? Is this going to work for next year? Do we have the mentality to win? I want to see us go down 1-0 early off of kind of a dumb mistake and just see how we respond from it. Are we going to be able to step up and play our best game in the last 65 minutes after we played a horrible first, I never do math in public, but after we had the first amount of minutes, I think that's one of the things that's been missing during this season. And we talk about players we want to continue to see grow. I want to see the mentality of the whole team continue to grow, and I think that's one of those next steps. I said it in the very beginning of when we started Final Whistle ATX, good teams find ways to win. And there are several games in the beginning of the year we just found ways to lose. Yeah. And I want to see us in a game we deserve to lose, find a way to win. I know it's really generic to say, but it's about the mentality.
Yeah.
We talked about Romagna. We talked about Pereira. I forgot his name. Who's the guy we were just talking about next to Pereira? Ring. I'm sorry, Ring. I know you're watching, Ring. I'm sorry about that. But we have guys who are known to be tough, physical guys who don't give up, and I want to see us embody that within our whole team and really find a way to win a game that's ugly.
And just to add to that, one little thing, I don't remember any time this season that Austin FC has scored a late equaliser or a late goal to win the game. I don't remember that happening once, and maybe it has and I forgot, but...
Well, we've struggled to score. Nice. We've struggled to score so much because we just haven't had the firepower.
Until now.
I think with Musa and with Driussi and allowing the other guys, Fagundes has really found his step throughout the whole year. We finally have that person who come in the 90th minute plus time and get us that heartbreaking win for the other team. I think we finally have that. We didn't have that the whole year.
Yeah.
So with that being said, shout out to BD Riley's for letting us host this episode here again. And this has been another episode of Final Whistle ATX. I'm sure you know by now, since you're watching this show,
you should,
where to find us. But you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on KXAN.com under the Austin FC tab. You can find us on social media. And, let's see another victory. Go Verde.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.